No one saw anything, right?
I'm so excited because I've not been in an ELAS type of quiz since like in a year, more than a year now. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so I just, wanted to ask once. Should we, so is everyone comfortable with question, answer, question, answer, question, answer? Like that gives up a positive reinforcement thing. Rather than all questions first, you guys note down and then we tally scores based on cumulative answers. So question, answer is fine with everyone?
Yeah, that's better.
Great, yeah. All right. Okay, folks, when should I start? Just let me know.
You can start.
Oh, okay. So how many folks are there? Let me see.
Apart from you, 7.
Apart from me, 7. Are you also participating? No. Okay.
You want me to take scores, right? Keep scores.
Yeah. That'll be better.
Huh.
Okay. So, all right, just quickly let me explain the scoring system. Nothing much. 10 points for every answer, and on my discretion, I'll be awarding part points based on how close you are, how many elements of the answer you're giving. Right? So, just like last time.
Okay.
All right, so this is random internet trivia quiz, for the lack of a better name. So I just sort of decided to name it ironically. And this is basically, a lot of internet trivia that you stumble across or some astonishing facts that you find. And then after cross-checking them, digging into them, I realized these would make really good questions. Mainly because these are the right amount of obscure and the right amount of universal knowledge as well. Like this is something everyone can relate to, but the applications for this are really obscure, which you will find out. All right. So let me just start off. You can all just note down your answers. Right. So like the last time, in the chat, you can just write the answers in the chat. And based on the sequence of answers in the chat, I will be deciding who answered first. Just think of this as rapid fire only then. All right, cool. Let's begin.
All right.
So the first question, I hope all of you have read this by now, and hopefully answers should have started coming in the chat if you guys were cheating. But you're not. You waited for me to start the quiz, so nice. Now, should have bulb. Nice. See, this is the spirit that I want. Be competitive, guys. I want you guys to cheat and look up answers while I'm busy distracting you all with my intros. All right. Answer is not bulb. Let me just read the question again. Okay. As it was to be unveiled in 1886, right, a storm caused postponement of the fireworks show and a dimming of the lights. So, I mean, they wouldn't do that for a single bulb. So, you just got to take all the elements of the question. When the rain ceased, it was apparent that the light would not shine out the expected distance, a problem that had been worked on for years, with the original electrical system replaced by more modern equipment several times. Now, while it has been lit almost every day since its dim start, the biggest spell of it being turned off was when the wartime army had banned its use after sunset, as the glow threw offshore Allied vessels into silhouette, transforming them into floating U-boat targets. And I'm just repeating everything, not being very helpful, but just to give a summary of sorts that there's this famous thing, which was to be a grand unveiling was going to happen. Eiffel Tower. Good answer, but try to narrow down based on the last part of the question.
Yeah, I know it's somewhere related to that. Okay, wait.
Yeah. So a storm. So now, basically, in 1886, it was to be unveiled, and its modern equipment has been replaced several times because it is predominantly something related to light that you can figure out now. Now, something which is a huge clue is that the only time it was turned off was when the wartime army banned its use after sunset, as the glow threw offshore Allied vessels. This is a huge clue. that this was something on the Allies side. We all know who the Allies are, right? World War II people, right? It exposed the targets that were offshore. So now that should help you narrow down as to where and in which area, what kind of thing is being talked about. And it's a specific thing. So, something like a lighthouse will not be the answer. It'll be either a very famous lighthouse, if that's what you're looking for. Just to give an example. It's an iconic structure. Let's just say that. Anyone? I can give clues if no one is able to give the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Pranchu is hitting the vein slightly. Like, think of famous monuments. Think of famous monuments that are, who are the allies, first of all? Think of famous monuments that lie within the countries that form the allies and were near the coast. That should be the biggest hint to you guys. Because the light from it after sunset threw offshore vessels into silhouettes, which exposed them. So as far as I know, I think Big Ben is inland completely. But yeah, Josephine, you're on the right track. Pranchu, you're on the right track. Come on, you guys can. Electrical system. Big Ben isn't really, electrical in nature. Come on, people, come on. Anyone, any clues? Think of okay, one more hint. Bridge? No, not bridge. But yeah, you're thinking on the right lines. Okay, so think of something that is almost a symbol for light. This is a huge clue. There is this structure or monument. Who said that? Type it before someone else types it. That's what I'm looking for. Type it in the chat. I won't know otherwise. Who's typing? Yeah, Jitendra. Pranchu, you cheat. I knew you didn't say it. Still wanted to type it first. Okay, Jitendra gets 10 points for Statue of Liberty. Actually, 7 points because I gave away too many hints. But so Moses, you can give Jitendra 7 points for this question.
Yeah, noted.
Yeah. Without any hints, if you get the answer, which you should be able to henceforth.
Anvesh, are you playing?
The rest of the questions are easy.
Yeah, bro. I only answered the Statue of Liberty. I didn't know that we have to type it. So I'm sorry. But I'm not playing. I'm already late. So I'll just be witness to
this. This is the first question, so you can
still. Then cool.
You can still play.
Cool. I'll put down my comments then. Awesome. I'll play.
Yeah. So Jitendra is in the lead with 7 points. So don't worry. This was one of the harder questions. And from henceforth, let's just ease you in with a few easy questions. All right. Next one. So this was Statue of Liberty. Great job, Jitendra. Now, something which is more of you got to use your imagination and a little bit of, generic trivial knowledge. Considered one of the most drastic strategies to prevent hostile takeovers, the X defense. So X is basically what you have to identify. X is the name of this type of defense. Is where a company threatened with a hostile takeover turns the tables by attempting to acquire its would-be buyer. So you're getting what this is, right? All Suits fans, probably you guys can relate. The most famous of the execution of this X defense is so merger and acquisition, Anvesh, is the generic term of what this happens. But this is a specific type of defense where a company which is about to be taken over turns the tables by trying to acquire the would-be buyer. So one example of this was the takeover of Porsche by the Volkswagen Group. This is a very famous example, and actually this is how that name came to be. It's because of this famous case. Now again, what will help you arrive at the X is the name comes from X, where the aim is to avoid chasing antagonists. But a power pellet allows the protagonist to consume the antagonist. This should make it really easy. So X is a thing, X is somewhere where this happens, that you have to avoid chasing antagonists, But a power pellet, which when used allows the protagonist to in fact consume the antagonist. So in general, in this X, the aim is to avoid antagonists because the antagonists will consume you. But if you eat a specific power pellet, the protagonist can consume the antagonist. If you know where this happens, that's the name of this type of defense. And it's very, very, very well known, very, very relatable. All of you have come across this X. You have come across this X where not reverse. So reverse merger, this is like common knowledge. This is nothing, there is no legal term involved here. This type of the X, what you have to give me is a very common childhood, let me say. Like a kid should be able to answer this if you just tell the kid that, oh, the aim is to avoid chasing antagonists, but a power pellet allows the protagonist to consume the antagonist. So this is the clue that I'm giving. Even a kid would be able to tell you what X is. There are no legal terms. Anvesh gets it with Pac-Man. Correct. Turtle versus the rabbit, close, but Josephine was on the right track. Something related to common childhood knowledge. But Pac-Man is the answer. So 7 points to Anvesh.
7
after giving the kid clue. I gave the kid clue. That is why. Otherwise, if you jump in with the answer, as soon as I reading the question.
But it should be a little higher than last time. Because last time you gave 3 clues. This time it's just 1.
Okay, then give Jitendra 5 points and Anvesh 7. I can't do 7, 8, 9 and all. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, Jitendra, but you have Anvesh to thank for this. So Jitendra gets 5 points, Anvesh gets 7 points. All right. Everyone got it, right? This is called the Pac-Man defense. We've all played Pac-Man or at least heard of it, where you have to run from the ghosts because they will eat you. But if you consume a power pellet in that limited amount of time, you can eat the ghosts, etc., etc. You guys had happy childhoods, then you will probably not know this or know this. I don't know which one it is at this point. All right. So the next question. Another childhood common knowledge question. Counter to most kids show, which is basically, kids shows are all about, like happiness and not very dark imagery or metaphors. There was this episode in the last season of Pokemon Sun and Moon. All right. This episode was remarkably different. Why? Because there was this 2-episode feature. It focused on the friendship between an old Stoutland and a young Litten. If you don't know what these Pokemon are, I'll show you in the next image. Living out on the streets. After falling sick, the Stoutland is left immobile and the Litten tries to take care of it. But despite a concerted effort from the young cat, the Stoutland passes away. The story and the name of the episode were a variation of a classic short story, borrowing most of the iconology in the story. If you guys know your famous stories, then this should give you the answer immediately. That, Stoutland is left immobile, the young Litten tries to take care of it, but the Stoutland still passes away in the end. It's a very, this is the plot of a very famous story from which this Pokemon episode was borrowed. So what was the short story? And the name of it is the same as the name of the episode that this was. Anyone got any ideas? David and Goliath. David tried to kill Goliath, man. Yeah, but all right. But yeah, moving in the, I won't say right direction, but right kind of genre, I guess, in terms of, what kind of stories you're thinking of. So let me show you this. That's the Stoutland and the Litten. The young kid taking care of the old Stoutland. This is one famous scene, very famous scene, and this scene should actually tell you if you've read the story, then you should have actually gotten it by now. But if it hasn't yet, rung any bells, then this scene should actually tell you what that story is. It's a very famous story. You might have at least heard about it. All right, no takers. Come on, people. Okay, so time for the first clue. Unless anyone wants to try. Okay. You guys have heard of O. Henry, right? O. Henry. Okay. Anvesh. Anvesh, very nice. Last leaf is the answer. Sorry, this hashtag thing is a
brain of bits.
Yeah, this
nice,
is a throwback.
Nice.
So last leaf, Anvesh, very nice. Right. So after one guess, 7 points to Anvesh for last leaf. You guys, have you read Last Leaf? It's a really depressing story about how there's this artist, young artist, who takes care of the old veteran, and he's told that until the leaves on this tree, have not fallen, I will stay. And
yeah, I think I read it.
He paints the leaf. That's a very famous scene where he stands outside the window and he sees the leaf painted. Anyway, no problem, but let's hope everyone got the answer after listening to the answer, which is the main purpose of a quiz. All right, next question. Lutera. This was there in Lutera also. Lutera is also, the ending or the ending premise is based on Last Leaf also. Yes, Anvesh. Very nice. Brownie points for that reference. All right. Next. This is kind of a fun question. Okay. Legendary country singer Dolly Parton has many achievements to her name. Now, meanwhile, in 1996, Keith Campbell, Ian Wilmot, and colleagues at the Roslin Institute. Now, if you have heard of this Roslin Institute, correct. Okay, Anvesh, but you're close. Part of the University of Edinburgh, Scotland, and the biotechnology company PPL Therapeutics, based near Edinburgh. Edinburgh has been famous for that ever since it happened. If you give me it, you'll know what I'm talking about. They took inspiration from a most impressive and well-known achievement, as their work was derived from an equivalent feature. Yes, correct. Dolly the sheep.
Hey, I get the answer no.
Why did you write cloning, man? I needed the name.
Array.
Yeah. Okay, but actually cloning is what did they do was they cloned, yeah, but they called the first clone Dolly.
Dolly
naming her Dolly was the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna split points here.
Yeah, Batwara ho jayega.
Batwara, yeah. Pranshu gets 5 points and Anvesh gets 5 points.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys are not going to let the organizers take the trophy here, right? Come on, people, jump in.
Yes.
Where is Jitendra? Where is Pranshu? Pranshu, tumko. Everyone, people, come on. Fire up your nerves. You guys can just use the internet sneakily if you want. Doesn't matter. Except Anvesh. Anvesh is not allowed to use the internet. Others are allowed. All right. Okay. Come on. You guys can do it. So, Dolly the sheep. Next question. Let's move on. Anvesh, Pranshu, and others. Jitendra especially. Time starts now. Okay, you can start Googling quickly. This one is, slightly obscure, but the answer is very well known. So the Schweizer Offiziers und Sportsmesser Modell 1890 was an essential for troops during the war, as it aided them to perform regular tasks. Here, you should start your Googling. It wasn't the first of its kind though. Similar tools are mentioned by Herman Melville in Moby Dick also, as a swollen version of a common tool. This also is a huge clue. Swollen version of a common tool. After being encountered by American soldiers during World War II, that's when it really, yes, Pranshu, you get it. Very nice. So that's when it got publicized, right? Under, in the name of Offiziers Messer, they acquired it through German combatants. And then Americans coined the term Swiss Army knife to refer to this. And now it's, now it's popularized. Always someone else makes the stuff and then Americans end up, stealing it and popularizing it. So that should be the common theme of this. All right. So everyone got it, right? Swiss Army knife. 10 points to Pranshu.
Yeah.
Is Pranchu ahead of Anvesh?
No.
Not yet. Oh my god, yeah, you answered 3.
But close.
Yeah.
Close. All right. Next one. Pranchu, did you Google?
No, I'm eating. I'm hardly able to type.
Arre baap re. Setback. All right. Next question. Now, this is a very, very fun trivia. You guys are going to lose your minds when you hear this. A lead line is the tool used in yachting and boating to determine water depth and the type of material which makes up the bottom of a riverbed. All right. So what happens is a 30-foot long rope is attached to a pipe filled with lead, except for the last 2 inches. Okay. Knots were made on the rope to indicate different depths. So that is how the depth of an ocean to be measured in knots is. You must have heard that a lot. When you are approaching land, that's how in old times ships used to measure distance from the riverbed and ensure that they didn't crash into the coast. Now radar is used, but earlier they used to, signal that 6 knots, 4 knots, something like that. All right. Knots were made to ensure depth and see if the boat could travel properly. Now the marking for safe water, 12 feet from the lead, became associated with Samuel Clemens, who used to pilot steamboats before fame in a completely unrelated field. So what was the marking called? And this is a really fun question. So I hope you guys understand. So there was this gadget of sorts, a lead line, which was used to measure water depth and, see what the riverbed is made up of. 30-foot long rope, which is the maximum length, is attached to a heavy weight. This is basically a heavy weight so that the rope could sink properly. And then knots at equal intervals would indicate depth. Now the marking for safe water, which is 12 feet from the lead. So basically once you hit that marking, you are in safe water. If it's shallower than that, the boat would not, go inwards. So that specific marking, which marked safe water, the name of that mark was associated with Samuel Clemens. Now this guy used to pilot steamboats before, but this was named, it became associated with Samuel Clemens. It wasn't named after him or anything, but it became associated with Samuel Clemens. Why? You will know from the answer. Because Samuel Clemens later became famous in a completely unrelated field. Any idea? Because if I give you one hint, it's just a buzzer round. Whoever answers first wins, because the hint is going to be really easy. So what was the marking called? Sea buoy. No. So sea buoy. The buoy is a flotation device. So the name of this marking is it's a specific name. Like it's almost like a proper name. Anyone got any idea? Okay, Clementine is a nice guess actually. Yeah, so think on these lines, right? Clementine, Clement Mark. Think on these lines. You're close, but does anyone know who Samuel Clemens is? Because if you guys know who Samuel Clemens is, the answer is Climax. No. Correct. Who is Samyak? Great. I feel like giving you 20 points. Mark Twain.
Damn.
Yeah. So Mark Twain literally in like old English means Mark II, because like half. So basically almost at half. Like in Shakespeare in English, cleft in twain means cut in two. So twain means into two. So Mark Twain was Mark II, literally.
Achha.
And Samuel Clemens, he later adopted the name of this mark as his pseudonym. That's his writer's name. That's his pen name.
That's why I was like, I've heard this name before, but
correct. So Mark Twain is the answer. This is a fun question.
His real name is his pseudonym.
Yeah, Samuel Clemens is his real name. Yeah, so that should also give you the answer. Samuel Clemens is his real name. Mark Twain is his pen name.
By the way, another interesting trivia about him. So the day he was born, the Halley's Comet was there up in the night. And then 76 years later, when usual cycle repeat for Halley's Comet, when he died, again that same night, the comet passed by the night sky.
My God. Okay, that has to be once in a... the only man in the world, probably.
Yeah.
Person. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So great. I hope you guys like this question, and I'm proud of this question. I was hoping someone would give acknowledgement and all, but it's okay. Should not be expecting validation.
Yeah, nice question. Nice question.
Thank you so much. All right, people. So give me 2 minutes. I'm really sorry. Just give me not even 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Anvesh, what's your score? Tell me.
12, I guess.
Uh,
No, 17, 19.
19.
Yeah, 19.
You're 19. Pranshu is at 15. Jitendra 5 and Samyak 7.
Samik should be 10, no?
10. He didn't give a clue, no?
No, he went.
No. I didn't give a clue. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, no clue was given for this.
Okay.
All right. But great.
Danik, I'm
great
clapping
answer.
for you for this question. You did not acknowledge.
Sorry, what?
I'm clapping for this question and you did not acknowledge it.
Yeah, I didn't hear the claps, man.
Check the symbols, bro. Zoom.
Oh, acha. And it's really hard to monitor. All right. Next question, people. Whoever claps for the question gets 5 bonus points. If the question is good and I thought it was good. But if I didn't think the question was good and you are clapping, then I will do -5.
Joe got it, I guess.
No. Nice try. Very nice try, Josephine. But I think you should get it in one more try, Josephine. Come on. You can do it. A gigantic green tinged comet, all right, was caught in the night sky and it got a nickname. Josephine, come on, one more. Josephine, you can do it. You are on the right lines. Dekho, Anvesh is going on grasshopper. Come on, you are really ahead, Josephine. You can do it. Hey, don't give up now. All right, you're really close. No, you're on the right track, Josephine. Don't go to. Okay, Pranshu. Pranshu gets it.
Pranshu gets it.
Pranshu gets it. What else is gigantic and green? I mean,
Yeah.
all right, fine.
So this is 10 for Pranshu. Then he is leading.
Yeah. 10 for Pranshu.
Oh wait, I got it. I was like Hulk, lol. I was just randomly saying anything. Shit. Okay.
Did you even read the question?
Jarna took
really
time
didn't
to type incredible, so that's why.
Message.
I really
Dude,
thought
Jarna,
that Hulk
I
is
think
not the
Jarna-
answer.
I think
Yeah.
Jarna should get this one. She typed incredible
So
Hulk and all.
it took some time to type, and he was
I
eating.
am also eating that way. Okay.
No, five. Divide 5.
My 2 fingers.
Divide it.
I'm typing with 2 fingers. All other fingers are dirty, by the way. So yeah.
The Quizmaster, divide the points. The petition is.
Yeah. This has to be divided.
Anvesh is leading. Achha, but I still lead Anvesh by 1 point.
Yeah.
So
By 1 point.
So fuck you, Anvesh.
So much hostility. All right. I haven't even introduced the double marking questions yet. Okay. Very nice. So Pranshu and Jarna get 5 points each.
Okay.
Nice Jarna. Nice Pranshu.
So
खाना
Pranshu is
बंद कर दो
20.
यार. अगर इतना ही तुमको competitive हो रहा है, stop eating for a while. All
It's
right.
be over in 2 minutes.
How long have you been eating, man? You have been eating for like half an hour now.
No, it's slow. Like, yeah, because.
I feel like giving Josephine also some points, but you know.
Yeah. Take some from Pranshu.
No. Josephine was very close, but yeah.
Yeah, no pity points.
You'll
Yes.
get it next time. Yes.
Nice.
All right. Next. Okay, so this is easy actually. You just have to, it's just observation, nothing else. Nocona has been making dash dash in the small town of Nocona outside Dallas after a long history of producing boots and whips for cowboys. It remains the only dash dash manufacturer in the US, making 40,000 a year, a fraction of the 6.2 million sold annually in the US. Now, the main part of this question is that, what does it make? Because it takes over 4 hours to make, and it uses metal dies called fingers. You can see the image also. No, look at these are correct. Jarna gets 10 points for baseball gloves. I mean, you can see with the fingers mold also. Great job, Jarna, 10 points. All right. Watch out, people.
Yeah, Jarna is
At
on
stake in the
15.
game.
Jarna is on 15, Anvesh on 19, and Pranshu on 20.
And Samyak and Jitendra?
Samyak is 10, Jitendra is 5.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Next question. I will be introducing double marking soon, as soon as the competition gets a little more heated. All right. Now, this is kind of you're going to have to think outside the box for this one. Tom Dempsey, kicker for the New Orleans Saints, shattered an NFL record against the Detroit Lions more than 40 years ago, booting an unbelievable field goal from inside his own team's territory. Now, this is trivia. I don't need to bother about this. Stumpy, as he was called by the fans of the Saints, hazed an inquisition. So hazed is basically he received an inquisition, with critics claiming he had an unfair advantage, accusing him of having steel in his shoe. Right. But an X-ray showed that it was just a thin piece of leather and technique. Right. Josephine, would you like to expound upon that? However, a new rule was not iron leg, Anvesh, but yeah, think. Not 6 fingers. Josephine, would you like to? What do you mean by crippled? Because if you tell me what you mean by crippled, okay, correct. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. No toes.
Damn.
Yeah, he had no toes. That is why. So Stumpy should have given you the clue. And
Shit.
the X-ray showing that just a thin piece of leather was inside. Why? To cover up for the toes. He had it stuffed because he was toeless. All right, great work, Josephine. 10 points to you.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thinking outside the box make them. Josephine aces it. All right, next question, people. We have we have 4 people in the front runners as of now, right? Josephine is also coming up behind Jarna. All right, next. Now this is slightly obscure, but if you've followed sports for even some time, this will be familiar to you. After being relegated at the end of the last season, West Brom announced the lucrative 2-year sponsorship agreement deal with Hull-based company Ideal Boilers. Okay, back in May. And the company's logo is now the main sponsor on West Brom's match shirts and training kit. Like you might have seen this somewhere. Pay attention to the names that are also coming. West Brom's start to life in the AFL Championship may have begun with a defeat to Bolton, but their opening day of the season was not a total disappointment. Even though they lost something, they debuted something that immediately became an online celebrity. Correct. Yeah, but mascot, yes, but which one? Who is that mascot? What's the name of that mascot? It's a very famous mascot. No, not McDonald. Okay, close, but by close I mean you're thinking on the right lines, but it's not Pillsbury Boy. This has no clues. It's either like you know it or you don't, and you can also kind of make up the name from one of the names in the question. Even want to try? You can even try. Yeah, you can try. The tire mascot. Do you mean the Michelin Man? It's not the Michelin Man.
No, okay.
No. Anyone? can make up the name. You can try making up the name. You can try to get a fluke like Pranshu. Come on. Make up a name. Yeah, something like that. But it is the... No, so it's... Think of another name in the question. You guys can... Quidditch? No, no. It's a play on the name. It's a play on one of the names in the question. Something like Bromboy. But think of another name that is appearing in the question. West Brom announced a lucrative 2-year sponsorship agreement deal with Hull-based company Ideal Boilers back in May. And the company's logo, Hellboy, is now the main sponsor. I should give brownie points also. From next question onwards, there'll be brownie points awarded. All right, so yeah, this is slightly obscure, but have any of you heard of the Boiler Man? Anyone? It's a very famous mascot. No one?
No.
All right, damn it. Yeah, I've been told many times that if no one gets the question, it's probably a bad question. So moving on, no problem. Don't clap for this or -5. Okay. No salt on wounds, please. Okay. Another question which if you do not know about, you can get it just by doing a play on words. Fast food restaurant chain Carl's Jr. wanted in on the hype for Steven Spielberg's latest movie, Ready Player One. So you guys might have seen this movie. Carl's Jr. tweeted that it would honor the director and his upcoming film, but hadn't gotten approved. So it wasn't a menu item, it was just a social stunt kind of from the brand. But Spielberg was not cool with it, nor was Warner Bros. And so they said that, we appreciate the Ready Player One love, but we don't approve this. So what stunt did Carl's Jr. try to pull? So think of what Carl's Jr. makes. It's a famous American brand. And I mean, it's a restaurant chain. So what must they be making the most? You guys can already guess. And this also became an internet sensation, mostly because of the characterizations in Ready Player One, which is kind of what the image tried to portray of whatever Carl's Jr. Depicted. Any guesses? Yeah, Josephine is close, but like hamburger is the general food item, but they made something like, again, as I said, you can make a play on a name here and you can come up with it also. If you guys want to try. No. The hot dogs and hamburgers existed long before all of this. Ready Player One is a really recent movie. It's a play on a famous food item, and Samyak, you are close, but why is, yeah, you are close, you're close. No, not Hoover. Come on, it's kind of a name, it's a pun. It's just a bad pun. That's the answer is a bad pun. No, it's related to this movie only, not Jurassic. Yeah, so shaped the VR headset like a hamburger. Okay, very close, very, very close. But I will give you points for the name because I love puns and most of this quiz is puns. Correct, Jharna. Very nice, Jharna. So Spielberg became Spielburger.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the bad pun we were looking for. Brilliant, Jharna, brilliant. Sometimes, see, you do. In my quizzes, you do not need to have general knowledge. You just need to have a really bad sense of humor. All right, Jharna. Great work. Spielburger.
Jana gets 10.
Spielberg. I from Hamburg. Yeah, Jharna gets 10.
So
I mean, I did.
Tied.
Yeah, so that VR thing is not a clue anyway. I just said it's a pun. It's a bad pun. You can give Jharna 7. I'm not sure. Did I gave hints, right? That it's a pun on the name and all.
Hamburger also was there already. So
Hamburger was there, but yeah, hamburger is it's a common food item. I can't give points for that. Fine, Jharna gets 7 points actually. I did give a lot of hints that what you had to do to get to the answer. Sorry, Jana. 7 points to you. So after hearing hamburgers, Spielberger probably should have been. Yeah, but anyway, you guys have better senses of humor than I do. So yeah, stupid humor like this. So Pranshu, you were actually right. The VR headset placed on a burger, that was what they had done. So this is the Spielberger. All right. Great. I hope you people like this question. All right, next. No problem. This is also a really fun question. Okay. So in 2012, Italian brothers Vincenzo Barbato and Giacomo, who discovered the name was never trademarked by X. So they started Y. All right. As it gained a foothold in fashion, it was sued by X in 2014 over its logo. So the logo you can see on the bottom right side. The logo is basically a J with a bite taken out of it. Okay. So the intellectual property office finally, yeah, X is Apple. So you get, half marks for that. But so this is a like 15 points question. Y is not Japple, but yeah, you guys can try again. So Pranshu gets 5 points for Apple, right? Because for identifying. So it's a J with a bite taken out of it. That's the logo of this company. It's not a very famous company as such, but this lawsuit became very famous because, they won this lawsuit actually. The European Union's IPO ruled in favor of these Italian brothers. So what's the name of this company? It's 2 words. The name of this company is 2 words. So it's dash dash. You have to give me the name of this company. Jailbreak, nice. So you're thinking in the same direction as the previous question. But this is more of a trivia. It's a famous name actually. The name itself is famous. The name that they named their company, but the company is not famous. That's the first hint I'll give. So why would Apple sue them? Think of that first. And second, I'm saying that the name that they kept, their company, is very famous. So, yeah, Josephine is correct. So they sued them over the name because they kept the name of their company Steve Jobs. Because it's J with a bite taken out of it. So it was basically, just a mock. They were just mocking Apple, but later they won the lawsuit and now it became a serious company. And they are even in the future, when this question was made, it was releasing, but now they're actually making electronics as well. So Josephine gets 10 points. Brilliant work. Okay. Jack Rabbit was kind of close.
How much do I get?
You get 5 points.
0.5, sorry.
No. 0.5 as in half of the.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Anvesh, what are you even thinking of?
By 0.5 I mean half of the points, and for full 10 points, for Y you get full 10. So Josephine gets 10, Pranshu gets 5. All right, now I want to hear the score right now.
Okay.
Josephine
is at 20, Pranshu 25, Jitendra 5, Jarna 20, Samyak 10, Anvesh 19.
Anvesh is stuck at 90. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be introducing. Okay, when I say it's a double point question, that'll mean it's 20 points. And
sorry, Jarna is at 25.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Pranshu and Jarna are tied.
Yeah. No, I thought Jarna was at 20. Okay, so Josephine is 20.
Yeah.
Wait, Anvesh, Josephine, and then Jarna and Pranshu together tied.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, great. Steve Jobs, the name of the company. Now, all right. So this, want to make this a... Okay, let's make this a 15. We'll start ramping up the points now. For questions that I really like, I'll be giving 15 points. Okay. In November 2016, a surprisingly long streak of 44 was broken when the Donald took over as the 45th POTUS. So this streak was started by Drunkard along with others. And this streak, like this streak or this, kind of sequence or list, it includes Satan, Caesar, Dick, Grimm, President, King Tut, him and her, amongst their esteemed company. Latest to join this streak were Bo in 2008 and Sunny in 2012. What streak is this? What streak is being talked about? Any idea, anyone? So from the names and from, what is this streak kind of following? You guys can put those together and arrive at the answer. This is a fun question and it's 15 points. So like Jharna, Josephine, Anvesh, Pranchu, you guys should definitely be interested.
Yeah, that is obvious.
A president of you, as in the streak, no, it's not broken, right? The president of US streak isn't broken because that's still going on. And unfortunately, it will still keep going on. But I'm talking about this different sequence, which was broken when the Donald took over. Which sequence is this? College grads. What do you mean by college grads?
They have a degree. No.
No. So what is this? So the streak includes. It was started with Drunkard, then Satan, Caesar, Dick, Grimm, President, King Tut, him and her. These are all part of this streak. So what is this streak? College grads, that is, you're talking about like, they don't have proper names. No, wait, is that our answer or are you...
Him and her.
Thinking out loud. No, so these are, think of these names and think of this sequence. What would it be? They don't have proper names. No, these weren't the nicknames of the presidents, if that's what you're implying, Pranchu.
Okay.
Satan, because otherwise Satan would have fit perfectly for right about now, but...
Okay.
Donald was, Ronald and all of these were proper names only, no? Hamburger, yeah, now you're thinking along some lines, but no, it's not hamburger named after presidents.
Can I speak it because it is too long to type?
Acha,
Yes.
okay.
Like their names were combined, the first names and last names, and they made a word, but with Donald Trump they could not make a new word because like Barack Obama is BO, so Bo or something like that, and then
Achha,
you know what I'm
like
saying,
that.
something like that.
It's not that.
Okay, cool.
Not that, yeah. Other people try. Josephine, hamburger named after presidents is
Dog.
like a nice guess, but
It's
okay,
actually
Jitendra
dog.
gets it.
That's correct. That's correct.
Jitendra
Dog
gets
is
it.
correct. I remember Bo is dog of Obama. Yeah, fuck.
So I will give Jitendra
10. 7.5.
Wait. So it's actually not dog, it's all pets. And why this is important is because even this sequence was called POTUS, which was pets of the US.
Oh,
So POTUS was also the pets of these presidents, and Donald, being a piece of shit, does not have a pet. So
acha.
so that is how he broke the streak, because he did not have a single pet. That is why a surprisingly long streak is because all of the presidents before had pets.
So
This streak was not broken until Donald Trump became the president, and he has no pet, so the streak is broken, basically.
So he converted. So he's a instead of POTUS, he's a POS, like piece of shit. Okay.
Yes. Nice, Pranchu. Brownie points.
Point
All
of
right.
fame.
Yes.
All right. Fine. We'll give Jitendra 15 points for this because
It's double point, no?
he's zoned in all the. Yeah, it's not double. It's 1.5 times. Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Double points will be the really tough ones.
So wait, what is the score of Jitendra then?
20.
20.
Pranchu getting insecure.
20.
Already Jharna is there with me.
Yeah, Jitendra, nice one. You've caught up. Great. So dogs.
And Josephine are tied.
Great. So yeah, these are all pet names, Like who would name a pet Satan? Only you could. I mean, basically that's something to throw you off. But yeah, pets of the US. All right, this is a normal, 10-point question. This is an okay kind of question. I mean, I myself am not a fan of this, but just a filler of sorts. In 2009, the Dash wanted to celebrate the artistic ventures of comics. This was a land-breaking event because right till before that, the Dash, which is the name of this kind of place, used to frown upon such things, but they started to celebrate the artistic adventures of the comics with the exhibit Small Design. The Dash invites comics. For the event, a series of original French, I don't know how to pronounce this. Josephine, can you pronounce it for me?
Which one? The first one? I
A
don't
series
know.
of original
Must be
French.
Isler.
The
Isler,
French
Nicolas de
bande
Crécy.
dessinée.
Ah, bande dessinée.
Bande dessinée. Okay. So for the event, a series of original French bande dessinée, Japanese manga, and American comic books made by 5 famous authors: Isler, Nicolas de Crécy, Eric Leberge, Marc-Antoine Mathieu, Hirohiko Araki were published and showcased. Then the exhibit was later reopened from January 28 to February 28, 2010.
Where?
Not Oscars, but yeah, I have to
Image.
think of something. So, Image. So, which place or which, invited comic books for the first time and very surprisingly so? Josephine, correct. Josephine, Louvre, that's the place.
Awesome.
Yes, so this was, I mean, something which is not
I thought
easily
of it.
guessable.
I knew that Josephine almost might have got it. I was typing that only, but my spelling came out as LWVEW.
LWVW.
I was just typing out so that
My
I just
God.
get in something. Shit. Written on the poster where?
कहाँ है?
Acha, at the bottom, it's blanked out like that. Middle one, where?
No, it's written in middle. It's written.
Show.
Okay.
Back. Go back.
Yeah, why are
It's
you
written.
exposing me like this? Okay.
Acha, here, middle of the.
Dude, I can't even read it on my laptop screen. How are you guys zooming
No,
in
it's
on?
visible. It's ROL.
Josephine is getting so lucky, like she's French, and then she got this question, and then this thing. Lol.
Why Pranchu?
And then she overtook
Pranchu,
me.
you'll get your chances, Pranchu.
She overtook me. This is yes.
Okay.
Even if you had typed LWVW first, I would have not accepted it. But okay. Yeah,
How many points did she get though?
She gets 10 only. This is a normal question.
Arre, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Pranchu gets 10 brownie points for this amazing spelling.
Yeah.
All right. Next, again, this is just, 10 points only. I will tell you when the star marked questions come. So Dash Dash is a new game on the PS4 VR developed by Japanese studio Resonair and published by Enhancing. The game has been in development since 2012 and is inspired by the phenomenon. Okay, Anvesh. Anvesh gets it. All right.
200 points.
10 points. Anvesh gets 10 points.
29.
So what is the full name of the game, if anyone can tell me? Because the full name of the game is based on this. Is inspired by the phenomenon of the same name, where after playing Dash for a long period of time, players would continue to see falling blocks for some time after quitting the game. So this is called a Tetris Dash, basically. So, but yeah, if you get Tetris, you kind of get the answer. But it's called the Tetris Effect. And the full name of the game is Tetris Effect.
Erna got it.
No, but I mean, Effect is just a...
I'm saying still. Yeah. I'm saying even like she's getting PS4 stuff faster than us.
Yeah. खेला होगा बचपन में. Who knows,
PS4 came out.
I've actually never played PS4.
It came out a few years ago only. How can Jharna play it in her childhood?
Actually, I think Jharna is not playing.
Her kids are playing. That's why. Yeah.
Yes, nice. All right.
Good.
Tetris Effect is the name of the game. All right. Next. This is actually, yes, I am Jarna's son. All right. So for this question, I will be awarding 15 points. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I like this question personally, even though it's not star marked. All right, so let's do this. The image is usually, it's actually more important, but I'll just run through quickly. Scientists and NASA use the Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope. So basically, constellations based on sources in the gamma ray sky, which is invisible to humans. It's not like constellations formed from stars. It's from gamma ray bursts, which leave behind residues which are not visible by the naked eye. So these constellations were not very famous, but one of these constellations caught public attention and was named something based on the
It's like Pokemon thing, no?
not Charizard, but nice try.
It's dinosaur.
Not sure.
Godzilla.
Jarna, oh my god, Jarna gets it.
Oh.
It's called the Godzilla. It's called the Godzilla constellation. Jarna is killing it. 15
Jarna's son
points.
is, yeah, like shit.
Yes, Jarna's son is killing it. I'm sorry.
What's your
Yeah,
name?
15 points.
Can you tell your name? Charna's son is very difficult to say.
Well, Jana, who should we give the prize to? Just let us know. All right, so Godzilla, very great answer.
Oh.
But yeah, you were by Charizard, you were on the right lines actually. Dinosaur, Charizard, but Godzilla is the name that we wanted. All right, and these are the other constellations formed from gamma ray bursts.
Nice.
As you can see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, what is the points?
40, I guess.
40. Jarna is at 40. You are 25. Josephine 30. Jitendra 20. Anvesh
29. Shit.
Yeah.
So many people in front of me. Yes.
So this is one of the rare star marked questions where I will be giving 20 points or 0. Full answer gets 20 points. If you if you type the answer beforehand without giving me the full answer, like the full answer, I will disqualify this question. No one gets the points. So think properly, frame the answer completely, arrive at it completely, and you have one shot to type it out. So whoever types the answer first gets it, but if it's not the complete answer, no one gets it. So it's 20 or 0, first come first. Please don't ruin it for everybody if you are ahead in the game.
Yeah.
You know, typing some-
Growing product
Yeah.
development.
All right. So yeah, I guess you guys can all read the question, but just to explain it, in concise terms. So
Can you
just for
tell
the
us
sake
what
of
BLT
brevity,
is? Can you tell us what BLT sandwiches BLT refers to?
Bacon.
I cannot tell you that.
Acha.
But you guys, I have given internet usage
Acha.
permissions, so it's fine. All right, so the British Railway Network. So basically, there were delays and stoppages, and these delays and stoppages were based on something so trivial that it became a punchline for many a comedian. All right, so this is a growing problem faced by the network, which is causing trains to slow down. The issue is now spreading, and all of that. Now, this is an absurd issue because the blame is being placed on the BLT sandwiches that are being served. So why? What is happening? It's a really funny question. That is why I'm making it a make or break. So frame the answer completely. Think absurd. Connect all of this, and just think of what is happening that is causing these delays. And
It seems
then
like
frame it out completely, but do not give the answer before thinking out completely. Otherwise, everyone loses out. Just think properly. So think of everything. Think of every piece of this puzzle, because you might think okay, this thing seems to be the problem. You might be tempted to blurt it out, but
we need to type, right?
yeah, you need to type. Josephine has given an answer, so that will decide if everyone gets it or not. The salad was going on the rails, causing the train to slip No, it won't slip like that. I mean, too much time. Yeah, okay. All of these answers are wrong, so no one gets any points.
Hey,
No one gets any points. Sorry, I had clarified this earlier.
Okay.
But
what?
Pranshu, your answer is also not
Okay,
correct. So why would this be a growing problem, right? If causing passengers to go to the toilet a lot of times. Rappers on the track, no, nothing of this sort. Okay, so as you all know, tomato seeds remain undigested in our digestive tract. And all of the pooping on the railways was causing tomato plants to grow on the tracks, which were becoming so wide and so thick in their growth that they were actually slowing down trains. So these were because of the huge tomato plants growing on the rails. Because of passengers shitting out tomato seeds after eating BLT. So it's basically all the poop from the passengers was causing the problem. So that is why they said, stop serving tomato in the BLT sandwiches, because they are growing plants on the railway tracks. This is a nice little absurd question, which no one has appreciated, but I'll just ignore that. All right.
Very nice question.
Moving on. Yes, Pranshu.
MashaAllah, Danish.
I know whenever Pranshu or Anvesh is falling behind in the score, he's a compliment aane lagta. All right. So again, a 10-point question. I'll give hints and everything. To celebrate Queen Elizabeth II officially becoming the longest serving British monarch, Washington Post found a unique way to celebrate the occasion. They decided to chronicle her growth from before she was queen to the extent of her reign. How? Through what, medium, or how did they express this? Pranshu, okay, nice answer, but something specific, looking for something specific. Not stamps.
Like stamps with her faces, basically. Achha.
Both of faces, so you can see her faces are being used, but not hats, not stamps. Dogs? How dogs? Means, stamping dogs with this. Close. I mean,
different ages.
Anyone has a
ages.
Different ages is visible here. What is that? What is that specific thing? Very close. Pranshu, you are very close.
Achha, number of points or number of age that she, like, if she was 24 years old, then 24.
Specific. It's not coins. That's what I'm saying. It's not coins, but you are very close. Come on, not how many crowns? Not crown. Pranshu, you should get it. You're very close. You are so close.
Achha. Bills, dollar bills, like.
Yes, correct. Pranshu gets it. Okay, Josephine wrote first, but I'm going to give this to Pranshu because he was yelling it out.
I would suggest Danish split it. It's better.
What is the score right now? I just want to,
Pranshu is 25, Anvesh is 29.
And Josephine?
Josephine is 30.
30 or 40? Who is 40 then?
30. 40 is
Jarna is untouchable. Okay. 40. All right, you guys don't compare. Jarna's son is untouchable. All right, so
whatever I am having, like bills, I'm just holding back.
By bills you meant banknotes, right? So this is come on, man. This is.
I mean, I gave coins also, and I blurted out and then typed. I know I should have typed first, but yeah, like your call, Danish.
I will give it to Pranshu for hitting the right vein, like currency wala cheez. Okay. But I will give only 5 points. So 0 points to Josephine and 5 points to Pranshu. For not arriving at banknotes right after coins.
Okay.
So Josephine kind of just sucked away points. All right. No problem.
Cool.
Achha, guys.
All right. So next.
Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Can I put you all into a waiting room? As in, into a breakout room? Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Should I pause the question for now?
We will keep the chat. You use the chat